Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the Marvel Legends Wolverine, part of the X-Men Nemesis Holocaust Build-A-Figure wave of Marvel Legends. I believe this is the X-Treme version. I'm pretty sure it's X-Treme version. I'm getting my superlatives mixed up with all these reincarnations of characters. Pretty sure it's X-Treme with the two stripes up there. But anyway, this is the Wolverine that is maskless and wearing black cargo pants. And it's actually kind of good looking. There's some good stuff about it for sure. And if you're a Wolverine collector, then this is probably going to be a worthy pickup. I'm just going to say that right now, but I don't know for sure. So let's go ahead and get him off the stand and take a closer look. Alright, before we get into the figure, I do want to get into my package, and it is a good package. Figure front and center, accessory showing, nice big window. I am liking their packaging. How do you guys feel about having the comic art or original art, depending on what they're doing at the time, on the packaging? I don't know how I feel about it, because it almost always, and by almost always I mean literally always, makes the figure look less good. Because it doesn't ever match or look anywhere near as good. So it's kind of a turnoff for me. It's like putting game renders on a video game character packaging. They can't look as good as the source material, so it's a turnoff. But that's the package. If you're into it, cool. If not, well, I understand. Alright, this guy stands roughly 15 centimeters all the way to the top of his hair flips. That's going to be about 5 7/8 roughly. Here he is up against Darwin. I do think there's a lot of creep going on with Hasbro. It sure seems like it. Wolverine shouldn't be quite that tall compared to Darwin, I don't think. And of course, Darwin is undersized anyway. But okay, let's do a question of the day. Which suit for Wolverine is your favorite? For me, it is 100% undoubtedly Tiger Stripe. Or brown suit, but probably Tiger Stripe. No, it's definitely that, but brown suit's cool. Okay, so this guy is in stock at Big Bad Toy Store at the time of filming, so if you want to get one, check it out in the link in the description below. Let's get into the aesthetic. I have to say, first impressions look pretty good. We've seen a lot of these parts before. Some of the new parts on here also look very nice, and I'm generally pleased with it. If you just look at the silhouette, it's not bad. His head does sit a little bit high, and it's even worse if you actually put the neck back. Right now I have it squished forward. It sits too high for sure. 100% too high. It's goofy looking. Because they keep reusing the same body, that's still pretty flat too. They need to fix that. But I will say, these pants that they put on him, it's a nice sculpt. They did a good job getting his short, stocky legs to look correct. And it does. It looks nice. The torso still looks decent other than the weird neck. And the shoulders, even though they are generally fairly... If it wasn't for the long neck, the shoulders would be probably high enough. Well, I'd like to see them a little bit higher considering where the pecs are, but they don't look too bad. They are very tiny though. Not super noticeable from the front, but from the side his shoulders are quite small. But these are the newer arms that have the burn victim skin on the side, which is supposed to be hair. It's hidden by the paint, which is nice. The painted hair, so I'll give them that. But cardinal sin of action figure making is don't paint sleeves over hair and then do a terrible job. That's like the #1 rule they teach you at action figure school. That looks terribly ridiculous. It's really, really, really bad. They couldn't have just used arms that aren't hairy for this one, or less hairy, or make new ones. God forbid they make new ones. They also couldn't put the paint on the elbow. Man, stupid things like that really take me out of enjoying a figure, because they shouldn't only look good from a distance while you're squinting. But yeah, otherwise it's not bad. The yellow paint is pretty trash. It's glossy, just like on Cyclops, and it's not anywhere near opaque. It's not even lined up well on parts of him. The red also not opaque enough. The belt is okay. So yeah, it started off looking really cool. Now it's looking a lot less cool as I go. The claws, freaking lazy, cheap, crappy company. The little openings are nice and silver. Then the claws themselves, of course they're not painted. They're just gray plastic, so that looks real cheap. Like, it wouldn't have looked as bad if they didn't put silver right next to them. Bad choices, lazy company, cheap company. The face, we've seen this one before. I don't think the first one had this sort of paint job on it. It's okay. I don't mind it. It's, like I said before, probably too realistic for their body sculpts, but it's not bad. It's one of their better head sculpts for sure. It just sits way too high on that goofy neck. Like, oh God. Yeah, it started off looking pretty good, honestly, and now it's looking worse and worse. I'll give it a 7 for the aesthetic. It's the standard Hasbro look. So it's fine. If you're collecting Marvel Legends, you'll be okay with it, I guess. But these problems over here are just nuts. Alright, as far as accessories go, you get the 2 fist hands with the claws, obviously. You get 2 fist hands without them. Then you get 1 open hand and 1 pointing finger hand. Wow. Oh boy, what a good spread of accessories. Not even a normal head. So Wolverine's going to stand on your shelf. If he's posed, it'll look fine. But if you're just doing hero poses, which I'm guessing is the majority of the collector community because space is limited and not everybody is doing photography, I would venture to guess most collectors aren't doing photography, in fact. You're stuck with him standing there making his best mean face. No alternate head. 0 out of 10, taking points away. A few hands is not enough. It's just not enough. Not when you're reusing this many parts, as Hasbro does. Like, oh good, new pants, great. Alright, onto the articulation. We've seen this a million times. He can look all the way up, and it looks ridiculous, but he can do it, and he can look down, and he can rotate, but he can't really lean. Like, it leans, but it breaks the neck, so don't do that. You can't use it properly, so just don't. For the chest, he does have a functional butterfly, so I'll give him that. It's one of the better butterflies. It's not the best looking thing, but it is functional, and it's not too bad either. I mean, the paint here sucks, but what are you going to do when he's got stripes like that? I don't blame Hasbro for that, so that's fine. Full rotation there is good, and then bringing the arm up is better than horizontal. That's good. Bicep swivel is fine. Double jointed elbow on these chunky arms works pretty well. I'll take it. Not painting the elbow hair is just... Oh God, it does demonstrate how much... I'm right about the skin texture being just disgusting. Don't do that. Don't texture the skin. Just leave him not hairy, honestly, because it looks ridiculous. Because this paint job would have looked the same whether the skin was textured or not. Put that paint job on a non-textured arm. Then you have choices, Hasbro. Gosh. Goodness gracious. The wrists have a swivel and a hinge, so that's pretty much standard. Ab crunch on this guy. Not the best we've seen, but it is there. He's not leaning back farther than that. I thought he did before, but it's not going. So, whatever. He leans forward nicely, though, so that's okay. Waist twist is there, of course. His belt is floaty. Hips go out to the side reasonably well. He does have a little bit of a dangly thing down there, but it's not too bad. And they're out farther than most Spider-Man figures, so that's good. They kick forward almost to horizontal. They go back just a touch. Thigh swivel is fine. By the way, this hard plastic crotch piece is a different finish than the legs. The legs are a nice matte finish, and this is kind of shiny, so it does look off in person. It'll look different depending on your lighting, I'm sure, but it definitely is noticeable. Alright, thigh swivel is fine. Double jointed knee is not the best knee, but it is enough, for sure. Alright, and then no boot swivel on this guy, of course, okay. Ankles go all the way back and pretty far forward, and you get a decent ankle rocker. So yeah, pretty much par for the course for Hasbro. Nothing special, some things missing, but otherwise he's good enough. You'll be able to get him in some poses, so I will go 7 out of 10 for the articulation. And now it's time for the final verdict. Is this a good Wolverine to add to your collection? Well, in a sense, it's a good enough Wolverine to add to your collection, but it's not very good. The elbows and the arms and the painted sleeves and the head sitting funny and the lack of accessories, those are all big problems at this point. Like, Hasbro should have such a parts library that they can reuse enough parts that they can add an extra accessory or add a new head sculpt, and they just don't. All we get is some pants, which, okay, yeah, that's nice, but they don't do enough new sculpting for me to feel like, okay, well, that's worth it. So I'm going to give them an overall rating of just 7. I can't go higher than 7. Honestly, I could go lower given the painted arm sleeves. And I say arm sleeves because they are his arms and sleeves, not just sleeves for your arms. So it's another one where it could have been plenty good, and instead they made it as cheaply as they could. Like, honestly, it's surprising they didn't just sculpt some pockets and glue them onto his normal legs. Goodness. Yeah, it's acceptable if you're collecting Legends, but otherwise don't bother. But that's it for me, so thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed, you should. I have new videos just about every single day, and thousands already on the channel. So make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.